Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Decided to do the video in studio today because it is thunderstorming outside, and the rain just goes from a light rain to heavy rain with lots of lightning and stuff. So just figured it was an appropriate time to come in. So, Title 42 ended last night, or actually this morning at midnight. And a lot of stuff's been going on now. I suspect that some of you, maybe, is starting to grow tired of hearing about this. I've been talking about it for a week now, pretty consistently. And my theory that people start to lose interest in something, an event, in 3 to 4 days is so far it's holding true. I can tell in the comments and the views and stuff that it does look like people are starting to lose interest. And I'm telling you, this is not something that we can lose interest in. Up until now, over the last few days of watching the influx of illegals coming across the border, to me, I liken that to just skirmishes. Those have been skirmishes building up to the invasion. And the invasion started this morning at midnight. There's plenty of video out there because there's a lot of good people that are on the border reporting on this, and it looks like, I can't guarantee it yet because of what these reporters are doing, it's kind of hard to nail it down. But it looks like in the next couple of days, one of them that's pretty well known is going to be on this show. Via the internet, but reporting on what's going on down there. So hopefully that will work out. We've been in communication and excited to see that happen. But there's plenty of video out there showing this, and it's building because there's tens of thousands on the Mexican side, and it's I don't know how to describe it visually, but if you're not staying on top of what's going on and watching these videos, you have the border and you have these different groups, and they're starting to build on the southern side of the border, just waiting to get across. And of course, excuse me, the thousands that are waiting, they can't just necessarily all cross at once. They're pushing through. I want to make a point of something, and there may be some of you that disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm very open to disagreement. But from what I am viewing on this stuff, I think there's some optics going on, and I think the optics are going on with the Texas government, the governor of Texas and the Texas National Guard. And I am not in any way putting them down, but the original optics seemed to be that they were trying to stop this, and you've probably all seen the C wire, the razor wire that they put out, and where these illegals are trying to cross the river, and they're not allowing them to come through. I mean, I've not actually seen any Texas National Guard or Texas DPS actually try to physically stop them with their bodies, but they just stand there along the line of the C wire, the razor wire, and try to, not let them through. Which gives the appearance that there's actually some people down there trying to prevent them from coming into America. But if you really continue watching and you listen, that really doesn't appear to be the truth. What appears to be the truth is that they're just trying to keep them from crossing at that point. There's video of Texas National Guard and Texas DPS on megaphones telling these illegals to cross here because it's dangerous, that there's the river and all this. It's dangerous. Do not cross here. Go down to such and such place, which is the official border crossing, and cross there. And when they do that, they're let in. There's video of other troops. I'm not sure what units they're with. I don't believe, from what I'm being told, that they're Texas National Guard. These are part of the 1,500 troops that Biden said that he was calling up to go down there and help. And so they are there with Border Patrol agents, and they're protecting protecting the illegals coming across. In fact, they're protecting them from the press. They're not allowing the press to get too close to view it, to take pictures of. And they're allowing them to just pour in, and they're putting them on buses, and then they're shipping them off to who knows where, right? So the point that I'm making is that it doesn't appear that anyone is actually trying to prevent anyone from coming across the border. They're just trying to prevent them from crossing at certain points. They're just trying to funnel them into a certain area and get them to cross there. Now, you might say, well, it's so that they can process them and not just cross the border, not process. I'm not sure that I would agree with that, because they're not really processing them. The Border Patrol announced that they were no longer going to be giving them court dates. They were just going to be basically letting them in. Now, there was a judge yesterday afternoon that said that they can't do that, that they have to give them court dates. But I don't know that that even matters so much, because the court dates that they're giving them are years in advance. So I just want us to all be cautious of what could possibly be happening when it comes to the optics for Americans. They're trying to make it look like, oh, we're trying to stop them. We're trying to stop them. We're putting up this razor wire, which is silly in a lot of ways, because if these thousands of migrants really wanted to get across that, you can get across the razor wire. There's ways to do it, and I've not seen any attempts to that, real attempts. Would these Texas National Guards, if they tried to go ahead and crawl under, cut it, whatever, would they then use physical force to prevent them from coming? I don't know. The point is that, again, like with everything, back with the all these other events, these shootings and the explosions and train derailments, there's always two sides trying to play optics on both sides. I believe that these deep state, people, they play psyops on both sides. And so be cautious of not to get caught up in that. It does appear in everything that I have seen and read that there's not really anyone or anything really trying to prevent any of these illegals from coming into the country. It's just that they're trying to prevent them from coming in at this part of the border and move them to this part of the border and allow them to come in there. I could be wrong, and if I am, we'll address that later, but that seems to be the problem, or what's happening. This is a major deal, and it's bigger than just, well, there's people coming across the border, and, well, they're coming here and they're going to drain our system. They're going to go to the hospitals. They may spread disease. It's bigger than that. It's diluting our whole system. We have been faced with the last few years, really starting with, you can go easily back to 2008, the economic crisis then. But let's just only go back through the pandemic, where we're shutting things down, we're destroying the economy, we're destroying commerce and businesses, and we're not even coming out of that, really. We're seeing all this with the banking collapse, with 20% of office space, 20% of commercial real estate is sitting empty. We're watching a slowdown in every sector of our lives. And it's like we've become accustomed to the fact that our store shelves aren't full anymore. Remember back 2 years ago when myself and others were talking about, remember when you'd go to Walmart or the grocery store, Kroger's, and the shelves were always full, and now they're not. Well, they still aren't, folks. You can still go to stores and see that the shelves aren't really full, that they pull everything up to the front, in the back behind the shelf, it's all empty. We've become accustomed to that. We've accepted that as the new normal, right? Just like we've accepted all of this, transgender stuff as the new normal. Well, now you add millions more onto that, and it's just going to it's going to bring down the system faster. Okay. And then you add to that all this other stuff that's going on, and who knows which event that's happening right now is covering for the other event, distracting you from the other event. Who knows? It's too much. We're like, we're not at 3D or 4D chess. We're like 10D chess. Okay. Um, you've got, the banks that appear that they're, just last week we had all of these bank executives, the CEO of JP Morgan and Janet Yellen and everything, like, oh, after that last bank failed, First Republic, oh, well, that was the last one. Everything's okay. Don't worry about it. It's over now. That was the little hiccup. It's over now. Nope, not this week. Now they're saying, oh yeah, it's just getting started. It's going to be really bad. The FDIC is raising the fees that they charge banks because they're running out of money. 3 banks have failed in the United States, and they've almost run out of all their money that they have set aside to back up banks. They're now saying that, well, maybe the interest rates need to be they need to raise them some more still. This last week or whatever, when they raised interest rates 0.25%, they were saying, well, this will probably be the last time. At least for the next few months, we'll probably, not have to raise interest rates. Well, now, yesterday, they're like, yeah, we're probably still going to have to keep raising them. We're watching the dollar just lose its prominence. And they're trying to spin this now that, well, either A, the dollar is never going to lose prominence, or B, there's enough room in the global markets to have 2 top reserve currencies, 2, so we can have the U.S. dollar and have the Chinese yuan. That's what's being spun now. We've got wars that seem to be cropping up everywhere, all over the Middle East, Israel and Hamas and Palestine and Gaza, and it's a big hot mess. We've got Pakistan, looks like they're falling apart. We've got Turkey and Armenia and all that up there that's about ready to just pop off even bigger, and of course there's Russia and Ukraine, and that one is just, it seems to be on just a knife's edge at any given moment of when it will go from a mildly interesting, whatever it is, to an all full-scale war. Ukraine is still striking inside of Russia with drones and missiles and stuff. Saw that the factory that builds the engines for their fighter jet planes was hit, and it was on fire. At some point, Russia either has to admit that they don't have the capability of really fighting this war, that they're dragging it on, or they're going to have to step up and say, okay, enough is enough. We're going to end this now, and that's it. Unless, of course, this being done this way and drug out this way for a purpose, which is probably to use up all of the West's military armaments. So that when China enters the scene, the United States and NATO just doesn't have as much as they thought they did to fight, which is exactly the reports that have been coming out for the last few months, is that if we got involved with China in a war, we wouldn't last more than a few days because we don't have any weapons. We don't have any bullets, basically, to put it simply, and we couldn't handle it. This stuff is it's happening everywhere. We're seeing just global instability in almost every area you look at. And you have to start asking yourself, why is that? Is this all just a coincidence? Because you know how we feel about coincidences on this channel. Is there something else going on? Are we overreacting to it? Is it because the internet exists and we're able to see and hear news on an instantaneous basis, pretty much, so now that we're noticing all of this stuff, it just seems overwhelming? Or has there always been this much instability in the world, but we're just now noticing it? Or is there actually really this much instability in the world, whereas in the past there wasn't? Well, if you just look at documents and news reports and history and stuff, it does appear that there's a vast more amount of instability in the world right now than there ever has been. So I don't think it's just our perception. Yes, we know about it more instantly, but I don't think it's just perception. I think it's a very real thing, and we're watching the whole world just kind of break apart, come apart. And you know my feelings on this. This is all part of the plan. The plan, trust the plan. Yeah, trust that plan because it's going to bury you. That's what's going to happen if you keep trusting the plan. It's all part of their globalist plan, their plan to completely break us down and take us over. This plan's been in place for decades, maybe centuries, just building and trying to lead us to it. It's a very satanic plan. It is, because that is what is foretold in the Bible. It's foretold in the Bible for a reason, that Satan will finally, get to the point that he's rising to power to take over the world. And then, of course, we know what happens after that. The Lion of the tribe of Judah comes in, and he saves the day. But until then, we have to deal with all this stuff that's happening. We have to deal with the chaos and the instability. The Klaus Schwab that says, "Oh, they're going to be mad. Oh, yeah, they're going to be mad. It's going to be chaotic, but they eat the bugs. And you'll own nothing, and you'll love it, and you'll live in a tiny little cubicle apartment in your 15-minute city with your little tiny electric car that only has can only go 60 miles, distance. That you'll love it. It'll be great, because then you'll be safe and secure. I mean, we'll watch everything you do, monitor your whole life, track everything you think and do, even monitoring your dreams, because they can do that now. They've announced that AI is the technology there. It can actually read your dreams as you're sleeping and record it. It can read your thoughts. It can turn your thoughts into texts or visual images. So we're going to do all of that kind of stuff. And you're going to love it. Why? Because you don't have any other choice. It's either that or be this outlaw scourge of society living in the wilderness. Well, if that's the choice, then by all means call me Grizzly Adams, okay? Because I'll gladly live like some primitive whatever out in the wilderness, as opposed to taking your pills and taking your microchips and taking all of the other stuff that you give us. This is what it's leading to. I know what I'm telling you sounds so dramatic. And I know that there's some of you that are sitting there like, okay, this is going too far. I know that because I get told that. I get told that, whether even in person, I get told that through emails and stuff, that, yeah, they're trying to do stuff, and yeah, it's going to get bad for a while, and yeah, we should have some preps and stuff, but, I don't think this whole global domination thing is quite like what you say. I mean, that's pretty extreme, microchips and brains and little cubicle 15-minute cities, and, that's a little extreme. Really? Because where I get that information? Well, number one, I get a lot of that information out of this book here. I mean, it doesn't specifically say brain chips and stuff, but if you read the whole thing, it kind of tells you a lot of what their globalist plans are. But then I also get it directly from the people that are doing this globalist plans, because they tell you they're not telling you full of baloney. They're flat out telling you exactly what they want to do. Absolutely exactly what they want to do. There was a video a few months ago from the World Economic Forum talking about the earbuds, not these kinds, but those kinds that you put in your ear, like iPods or whatever, where earpods, whatever they are, where they fit in your ear and you listen to the music. That they now have the technology, and they're actually marketing. There's companies that are making these that you can put them in and you listen to your music, but it's also scanning your brain. And it's able to scan your brain waves, and then the AI is capable of understanding the brain waves. So they've been able to scan brain waves for years. That's nothing new. And you've probably all seen it in movies and stuff, and it looks like a heartbeat. That's your brain waves. Well, the AI now is able to interpret that, and they can take that brainwave scan, and they can determine what your emotions are. Excuse me, hitting the mic there. What your emotions are, what you're thinking. If you're dreaming, they can take those brain waves and convert it to visual images. I mean, they can literally make a movie. You can go to sleep and dream and wake up and hit the play button and sit there and watch a movie of what you just dreamed. That technology exists right now, and they're marketing that. So don't tell me that the things that I'm telling you is, oh, this is like crazy Alex Jones conspiracy stuff. They're actually doing it, folks. And all of these waves of immigrants from third world countries coming here with their disease and their drugs and their crime and their infiltration of our nation and their espionage because they're foreign nationals from adversarial countries and stuff. All of this is being done for a reason. This isn't just, well, it just so happened we elected some senile old guy that said, hey, everybody in the world, just come to America. And it just so happened that they all listened to him and that they just happened to all show up at once. What a big coincidence that we live in. That's not how it is, folks. This is being orchestrated and done for a purpose, and it's been this way for years. And it's getting to a point. All this stuff that these conspiracy theorists, I guess like myself, have been telling people for years, it's all coming to a head right now. It's like a big old boil that's been festering, and it's just about at the point that it's going to pop. I know that's a pretty disgusting analogy, but that's about as true and accurate as I can come up with. That's where we're at. So if you think that this is just a little speed bump along the way that put back a few weeks of food just in case the hard times hit for a few weeks or a few months, then go ahead and do that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But what I want to tell you is that we are watching our civilization collapse. And because no one in existence, especially here in America, has ever experienced that, I think we think it's like, well, that's just, it'll be like a storm going through and, it's kind of sucks for a few days and then it's back to normal again. No, that's not how it works. That's not how collapses work. That's not how civilization collapses. When they happen, a lot of times they cease to exist. I mean, look at cultures like the Mayan and the Aztecs and the ancient Romans and even the Egyptians. These civilizations collapsed and they never came back again. They may have came back as something different, but they never existed again as they once were. That's what we're going to experience. That's what we are experiencing. And that's why you have to be getting yourself ready, because the things that's going to happen over the next weeks, months, years, and decade or two, and some of you are definitely going to live that long, are going to be so shocking that I don't think that you could sit right now and probably just let yourself imagine what it could be, because that is the place that we're in. I don't know that there's any way to turn this ship around. I don't think electing any particular person's going to do it. I don't know that any piece of legislation is going to do it. It's now feeding off of its own energy, and it's most likely going to happen. Most likely soon. It's going to happen. It's most likely soon going to happen. I mean, there may be things that happen along the way that slow it down or speed it up. But that's what we're experiencing, and you've got to be getting serious about your readiness level, because I think that the world is going to be so much different for everyone that we're just not going to even know how to do anything, how to exist. It's going to be this mixture of chaotic collapse and violence and disgust versus all this hyper advanced technology trying to monitor and rule over your world. It's going to be a very dystopian Hollywood kind of movie feel, I think, but probably even worse. That's why you need to be getting your houses in order, folks. Preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, because we are experiencing the collapse, and the invasion is upon us. It started at midnight, and I suspect it's just over the next days it's going to get worse. That will spread. You may not live near the border. You may say, well, that's really awful for them folks living down at the border. Well, there's so many, it's going to spread. It's going to get into your area. They're going to be showing up on your street corners. You're going to watch crime rates in your areas increase, and you need to get ready for that. Folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.